Folks, unbelievable. It's really happening. Look who has joined me today. This, in my opinion, and many people's opinions, a standard bearer for drumming in the world. Chester Thompson. Chester, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Thanks for the invite.
Um, I'm going to start with the present, which is congratulations. I don't have a copy of your new album yet.
Oh, we got to fix that.
Yeah, Wake Up Call. Now, I've listened to it online, and
Okay.
and I also have caught up with you and realized that you and Alfonso Johnson have joined this band Unitopia.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, you've got a lot on your plate. But Chester, to start off with, I'm going to go back in the past in a minute, but congratulations on the new album. It sounds really fresh,
Oh, thank you, man.
and your drumming is as vital as ever. Your drumming sounds young and just really
Now we're
full of
talking.
spirit. Um, can you share a little bit about the new album and what inspired it, what it got it going?
Okay. All right. Well, it was done during COVID,
Okay.
and I had a band in LA. My first band that I had. We started out just a bunch of guys jamming together, and a
Hmm.
young lady, the keyboard player. And we started writing, and it became a band, and we started doing gigs around LA and stuff. And of
Hmm.
course, then I got called back on tour. So by the time I got back off tour several months later, everybody kind of had to, find other things to do. So we
Yeah.
never really got to really take it where I feel like it could have gone.
Hmm.
Uh, but but we're all really good friends. So I called up the beginning of COVID. It's like, hey guys, what's going on? And so the bass player and keyboard player married, Pee Wee Hill and Michiko Hill,
Okay. Okay.
and they were saying, well, everything shut down. Their studio that they have clients in was, nobody was booking the studio. Tours were all canceled, and it's like so. And I've said it too many times, but the truth of the matter was that they said, well, we're just here jamming with the drum machine. And my comment was like, well, no, don't do that. Let me send you something to jam with. So I laid down a drum track,
Hmm.
which is number 3 on the album called Hide and Seek.
Okay.
That was the first thing we did. I just sent them just a drum track. I
Hmm.
mean, now when I play by myself, I'm still hearing stuff in my head. I don't
No
really
doubt.
think drums. Try to, well, I hear it more. I hear music is what I hear in my head.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
just laid it down. I can't say I had specific melodies, but sort of played fills and, things happened where I guess I felt what they should happen.
Hmm.
They sent me back this completed song, which freaked me out. It was like, you got to be kidding me,
Mm.
And they probably know me musically better than anybody else I've played with because
Wow.
the time we were together, man, we played several times a week. We had dinner
Wow.
together like a lot,
That
and
means
so
a lot.
it was all family,
Yes.
became a family. And so I asked him, how in the world did you come up with this? He said, well, they said, well, we just went where you led us, it's like, which really blew me away.
Well,
So
I
so they
must
said,
say,
and it was like, well, let me send you another one.
there you
So I,
go.
so I sat down and played something completely different from the first one, which is actually number 2 on the album,
Mhm.
Sunrise.
I
And
like that. Yes. Now,
oh,
see, I've heard Wake Up Call, Sunrise, and one other track. I've heard three. I
oh,
like those
okay.
very
Oh
much.
man. Well, when we get done with this, we'll work out getting the tracks to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. But yeah, so that one was the next one. Like I say, I played something completely different, and
Mhm.
and what they responded with on that, Michiko, especially the keyboard player. Oh my goodness, she's wonderful.
Mhm.
And I mean, I was freaked out. It was like, okay, so it took the better part of a year
Mhm.
because eventually later in the year things did start getting busy. They were in the middle, they toured with their daughter Judith Hill. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but you will be.
Mhm.
She's a monster. And um and so basically they were tied up getting ready for I guess her next album and preparing, toward the end of the year things did start opening up for gigs and stuff.
Mhm.
And and then they had a project of their own they were working on as well.
Mhm.
And so basically it took us probably just over a year to get all 9 songs done, but every single song was done the same way. I laid down a drum track, sent it to them. A couple of times I sent a melody as well, and
Uh-huh.
she developed the melodies that I had and and just took it somewhere else. It
Awesome.
was my favorite project that I've ever done.
Wow, that's saying a lot because you've done some amazing work. So in the past, were you writing back when you were like working with Zappa and stuff? Were you writing back then?
Not yet, not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Weather Report and working with Joe Zawinul, that's what really got me seriously wanting to write, and something about his stuff really touched me in a deeper kind of way.
I can understand that.
And so I mean, I actually took a few composition classes and stuff, but mostly it's just, one of the things. There was a composition teacher I had in LA. Guy had a private school named guy named Dick Grove. He taught a lot of musicians different stuff,
Yes.
and his concept was that rhythm dictates melody, melody dictates harmony. And so everything I do, I start with the drums because once you establish the feel, you're going to hear a different melody depending on what the feel is.
Yes.
And that which is
Yes.
how this album came about because, like I said, I just sent a complete drum track and then they worked around it. I think there was like a couple of songs where they what they heard in a couple of places was what I had previously played. I didn't think fit, so I had to go back and change a couple of things, and it came together. I think,
Well, the drum tracks sound really good. Did you record at home?
at
Home
home, yes, yeah.
sound really good. Do you have I don't want to go real technical, but the drums sound really good.
Oh, good, yeah.
How do you record? Do you record very specifically each drum with mics or
Oh
room?
yeah, oh yeah. No, my kid down in the studio stays mic'd up, always ready. I
Okay.
just go to the computer. I use a PreSonus board, a 32 input board, and
Mhm.
no, I just go in there and just turn it on.
Wow.
I mean,
Awesome.
I have to tweak
Awesome.
tuning or something, but and I check everything, make sure the levels are good, but it doesn't change much, and the board has memory, so I can always call up, different stuff. So
Yes, absolutely. Well, if you don't mind, I want to jump into the past just a little bit and then
sure.
back to the one of the first times I heard your playing was this album.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Man, and this I want to tell you, Chester, you and Alfonso Johnson inspired me. As you see, I'm a collector, but I'm also a musician.
Oh, what do you play?
Well, I play all the instruments. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm mainly known as a bass player in Omaha,
Hmm.
but my life was changed by the Beatles, and then the second time when I first heard Genesis in the early '70s with Peter Gabriel.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So when I heard this album, I was so blown away and inspired that hearing you, my brother's black people making this music, um, it's I get the impression that you and Alfonso were working together on this
we we
material.
st we started playing together in 1969.
Wow.
Yeah, he was 18, I was 20, and we were in two different bands that rehearsed in the same place, had the same,
Mhm.
part of the same management system. And we
Yes.
just jammed every chance we got. We just played all the time.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
well, but prior to this, we were together in Weather Report. I don't know if you're familiar with the Black Market album. So
Okay,
that's
you better get out of here.
ah, but that was before Alfonso's album actually.
Okay, because this is a monster
Yeah.
album. And the tone of your drums, the way you tune them, it's like as soon as I hear, I can tell it's Chester. Where where did your tuning sense come from with the drums? Because you have a real, even on the new album, that's Chester's drums.
Wow. Well, basically, the junior high I went to, we're in the hood,
Mhm,
so
mhm.
we did not have the fanciest of equipment. So the timpani that were in the school band didn't have pedals. And so the band teacher showed me and explained to me that that drum has to have the same pitch everyone on that head.
Oh boy.
Otherwise, it's going to be out of tune with the band. And because
Mhm,
we didn't have the pedals to do like, so we only had two drums. So some pieces we couldn't play, or I couldn't play all the timpani parts because
mhm.
without a pedal, you can't make those quick changes. But
Yes.
I did learn to tune, and try to get close to the same pitch around every rod.
Mhm.
And that's how I tune my drum set. I mean, that's I use
Wow.
that same principle. The drum's got to be in tune with itself.
They do. They do. They do that. Well, you learned well. This album, Chester, I don't know if you know this, but many people, and I agree with them, many of us think that the intro to Inca Roads is one of the best intros ever, and it's because of you, the way you bring everybody in with the that's amazing.
Wow.
Do you have any thoughts on on memories on this to share?
Yeah, well, Inca Road's probably my favorite piece on there. It's one of my favorite tracks I've ever done with anybody.
Man, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Zappa's writing was, oh my goodness, the man was brilliant. I mean, he just really was brilliant. And that, funny enough, we had been playing it on tour.
Hmm. Hmm.
That particular recording, there was a place called Caribou Ranch back in the day.
Yes, I've heard of it. Yeah,
Right, well,
Jim
James
Guercio, right?
Tercio, who was the manager of Chicago,
Yes, yes.
I'm told that he built it as a tax write-off, but it became so popular and so many people were booking it. I don't know how well it worked as a tax write-off.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, it was like uh, it was like 9,000 feet above sea level up in Colorado. So in the
Hmm.
studio that night, it's just George Duke and I laying down the parts.
Hmm. Hmm.
The bass player had broken his hand on tour just before we got there, just before we
Wow.
scheduled this. So we didn't have him. So the bass wasn't there. He had to overdub later as his hand healed. So like I say, so it was just George and I, but we knew
That's
the tune.
amazing. That's amazing
Well,
because you guys, between the two of you, you got the feel without a bass
well,
player.
well, here's the thing. See, Zappa, one of the things Zappa did that nobody else ever worked with did. Frank never ever recorded a song and then had to relearn it for the road. He never recorded it until he had played it on the road.
Oh,
He
wow.
would write the new music. Every tour, he would tweak the arrangement until he got it just where he wanted it. Then he would
Wow.
record it. So we knew
Okay.
it pretty well by then, you know.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, it sounds amazing. Got to show this one too. Yes.
Have you seen the film?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I don't
It's
remember much about it. It's
nuts.
been a while.
It's
Um,
it's pretty crazy.
I get the impression from seeing footage of the band that you were one of the people who kind of held it down, like a lot of craziness going on around. You seem like you were the level-headed person. I might be
Well,
giving you too much credit.
it was two drummers in that version of the band. So Ralph Humphrey and myself. I
Right.
was actually the auxiliary drummer.
Mm.
Ralph was already there. Frank apparently, I was told by a buddy of mine, had become his tour manager. In
Mm.
fact, the same friend who was managing these bands that Alfonso played and I played with
Hmm. Hmm.
in Baltimore. So yeah, basically, I guess Frank was mentioning that one day that he thought the band had gotten so perfect that everything was getting a bit sterile sounding.
Mm.
And
Okay.
he said he was playing around with the idea of bringing in another drummer with a street feel, is how he put it, you know. And so my friend goes, "Well, I think I got the guy for you, you know."
Hmm. Hmm.
So he called me up and said, "Man, are you interested in playing with Zappa?" And I had heard some of the music by then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, "Well, yeah, sure, you know." And he says, "Well, the only deal is, uh, audition is Monday morning. You got to be on a plane Sunday. I've already bought your ticket."
That was quick. That was
It was
quick.
very quick. Well, yeah, but in those days, pre-COVID, you could do that, you know.
Yeah.
It was a lot simpler then. And it was really weird because I was actually, I was about to start, I was taking a semester off from going to school, and I was going to transfer to a 4-year school, University of Maryland.
Mhm.
And so I was trying to make some extra money because I didn't know how far away I was going to be from being able to gig and go to school full time. In
Yes.
Baltimore
Yes.
wasn't a problem. And University of Maryland is closer to DC, so it probably would have been fine, but I didn't know for sure.
Hmm.
So I took a job driving a school bus. Well, I hadn't started the job yet. I was in training for a school bus. So it turns out that Monday that he said I've got to be in LA for the audition, I was supposed to start my school bus route.
What a story.
School bus Frank Zappa.
No doubt. Amazing. Amazing. Well, what
I
a
have no
blessing.
idea I have no idea how those kids got to school that day. No idea.
Left him high and dry. Well, no regrets there. And the world is better for the decision that you made. Let me switch
Thank
here
you.
now.
Wow, yeah, you got the goods. I'm
Well,
gonna
see,
spring a couple of surprises on you though.
well, no doubt. Well,
I've got a couple you might have missed.
I only have a few things because you have done a lot of work. Now I know you've even worked with Frank Sinatra. Is that right?
No, that would have been the keyboard player that has the same name.
Okay, so they get you
There's,
mixed up.
there's
Okay,
two of us.
that's right. That's right. And both of you have played together, haven't you?
With Santana, yeah.
Yes, yes. Well, I want to share with you the only time I've seen you 4 times with Genesis.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
In 1984, this month, in February in 84, you guys played the Mama Tour in Omaha.
Absolutely.
I was there. Now, of course, you won't remember this, but I was there with a date, so we had to sit, but I always like to get up front. So towards the end, after the medley, I go charging up front because I just want to just acknowledge and just, and the deal was in a sea of white people, you noticed me and you gave me the fist. That means so much to me, Chester. And I love being able to share that with you after all these years, 40 years later.
Well, yeah, you're right. You would have been the rare. I definitely would have seen you.
I was. I mean, my
Yeah.
collection is pretty unusual, so I'm used to it. And
And
that's
and
what I
the
want to
other,
go ahead.
right. Well, the other thing is that, you know, every culture can get so stuck in what they do.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
so to see a brother down there that could appreciate that music
Hmm.
and was open enough to come check it out, that was like, obviously that was a real plus. It's like, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
because you try to share it, and if it didn't have some serious funk going on, a lot of folks just weren't interested,
you're right. You're right. You really have been a bridge builder for many people musically, seriously.
Wow.
And I want to thank you for that. I don't know if you really realize that, Chester. You really have you've blessed the world through your role in
He
music.
gets the glory.
He does. Now, I pick up on that on the new album. You got Caleb Quay on there. There's a spiritual aspect to your music, isn't there?
Oh, well, hopefully, yes, yes, very much so. I've never been unaware of where it comes from. I had a mama that walked the walk. She didn't just talk the talk.
Yes.
We didn't live in a restrictive household by any means, but just her kindness, her giving, she had a servant's heart.
Yes.
She didn't take no crap.
Yes. So I can
Even
relate.
even
I
from
can
people,
relate.
even kids in the neighborhood, she would be one of them mamas. Hey, you ain't got no business doing that.
Yes. Thank
But
bless your
you know,
mother.
but she, yeah, but I grew up with it. Obviously, I thought I was hip at one point and kind of wasn't really paying attention. But
Mhm, mhm.
as life went on, yeah, fortunately, I've got a wife. We've been together be 46 years this May.
Wow.
And we became Christians in 1980,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I'm almost getting it. You know what I mean? It's
Yes,
like
I do understand.
it's a lifetime thing, man.
Yes.
I mean, people talk about my feel and all of that. Well, I can't take credit for that. I
Yes.
really can't. I
I
mean,
understand that,
I
Chester. I
pray
do.
before I play
Yeah.
and trust that I'll be given the right thing to do.
Your wisdom comes through in the music as well as your words. I'm really honored to spend a few minutes with you, Chester. We need more people like you in the world. We do. Can I mess with you just a little bit more with these records
Sure,
now? Okay, so
sure.
here's one where I wanted to ask about. You're only on one track or one or two tracks, Flora
Okay,
Purim.
yeah, yeah,
Now, Harvey Mason is the other drum on here, but the
right.
track that you're on really stands out. It's like you kicked the mess out of that. I
I
mean,
gotta hear that again. I haven't heard it in years and years. I need to hear it again because
we
I wasn't convinced that it was my best work, but I need to hear it again. I don't know.
okay because again, you it's got that the
Mm.
lope. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
brilliant Brazilian music is probably one of my absolute favorite things to play. I've gone way deep into it. I've been there a couple of times, and I was actually
Yes,
in the band with Flora and Ayrto, her husband. I
yes,
was actually in
yes.
their band at the time.
Wow.
And through them I got to record with an there's a Brazilian artist named Hermeto Pascoal. He is
Phenomenal.
he is the how would I put it? He's the senior statesman for Brazilian music,
Yes,
and to have played with him was a real privilege. And I got to visit with him at his house in Brazil even. I was down there
that's
on
just
tour with
incredible.
Genesis and
Yes.
found out how to reach him, and he sent somebody to pick me up, and I just hung out with him all day at his house. I
Oh
had a day
man,
off.
what an
Beautiful human
amazing
being,
life. What an amazing life you're having through music, eh?
man. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
fantastic. Fowler Brothers.
Well,
Okay.
three of them were in Zappa's band at one
Right.
time.
That's why I followed.
There's,
I've been
but
following Zappa
there's
since.
five of them. Well, one
Yes.
passed away. The one I was really close to the flute player, but he's passed away from ALS, unfortunately.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry
Yeah,
to hear that.
well, they're all monster players, man. They
Yes.
were amazing.
Yes. Now, the stuff that I don't have in my collection is you've done a fair amount of R&B work.
Not a lot, but yeah. There's a friend who did a lot of arranging and producing for Motown,
Hmm.
Gil Haskey,
Hmm.
and he entered into a partnership with Curtis Mayfield.
Okay.
So uh, Curtis, we used to fly out of LA at 7. We'd arrive in Chicago, start a 7 p.m. session, leave the studio about 7 in the morning with a whole album in the can, and we just get back on the plane and go back to LA.
Jeez, man, what a work ethic. What a work ethic.
Yeah, the bass player at the time was a bit younger, but he had been the youngest brothers of the Five Stair Step. He was the youngest brother, like,
Okay. Ooh, child.
Ooh Child. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the classic.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But yeah, so it was yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. I didn't, funny enough, I grew up with soul music when I'm growing up, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, I started playing gigs at 13. This would have been 62.
Yeah.
And it was New James Brown, early
Right.
Motown. I saw a little Stevie Wonder.
Right.
We had a theater like the Apollo. I grew up in Baltimore. We had the Royal Theater. Like DC
Yes.
had the Howard, you had the Apollo in New York. And we all got the
Yes.
same shows pretty much.
Hmm.
You would go from city to city. And so every other week I saw a show and got to see all this stuff live.
It's
You
amazing.
stare at the drummers and listen, and it was a pretty good way to grow up. Yeah.
Quite an education. Speaking of Stevie Wonder, his one of his horn players, Hank Red,
Hmm.
is from Omaha.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's someone that I'm working with right now on a
Oh,
project.
great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Um, I only have
Yep.
a limited amount of time with you because I'm using the freebie, so I only get an hour, and it's
I get you.
cuts us off here. So I'm gonna keep going here. Fire Merchants.
Oh man, yeah, that was a fun band. It was a
Now this is
really, really
interesting.
fun
This
band.
this is one of the albums where it was like the drums, the way they were recorded, seemed a little, I don't know. It's like your tone didn't. I don't know. Any thoughts about the recording of this?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm trying to remember who the producer was. I mean, basically, it was one of my own kids. It was not a studio kid. It was definitely one of
Okay.
my own kids.
Okay.
But I mean, this is from, oh goodness, when did we do this? This would have been early '80s, I think.
Yeah, because I'm thinking it wasn't the drums themselves, but the way they were recorded that I was
Hmm.
noticing.
Right. Well, it was featuring more the guitarist, I guess. Well, I mean, the guitarist had been in Brand X, that band that
Yes.
fusion band that Phil had played in.
Right.
Doug Lund, the bass player, used to do a lot of stuff with oh man, gonna blank on the name. Trumpet player that's done a whole lot of soundtracks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, what is
Mm-hmm.
his? I can't believe I'm blanking on the name at the moment. But
Uh-huh.
anyway, those guys, phenomenal musicians, phenomenal writers.
Mm-hmm.
I've done odd times a lot in my life, obviously. And man, they called up and wanted to know if I'd be interested in playing with them, and we did several live gigs around LA. We didn't travel with it, but yeah, it was a really fun band.
Awesome.
Fun band.
Awesome. So again, people don't talk about these, but you're on these albums too, right?
Studio 10 and Volume 2. You can't do that on stage. Volume 2.
Right?
Oh, Sleep Dirt. That Sleep Dirt and stuff like that. About that, some of that stuff from that point on. It was after Frank had passed away, and his wife
Okay.
started releasing a bunch of stuff from tapes that were in the vault.
Okay.
Unfortunately, some of it would have been stuff Frank would have never released because he wouldn't have
I
deemed it ready.
I kind of thought so actually. And then you're on
Right.
this
Yeah.
one too.
Oh yeah, with Beefheart, right? Is
Yes,
that the one with
yes,
Beefheart? Yeah, Bongo Fury or something. Yeah.
yes,
And
absolutely.
so he toured with us a little bit, so I got to didn't get to know him a real lot, but man, very very nice human being. I heard he could be pretty intense when he worked, but the
Hmm.
pressure wasn't on him because he was just like doing a few tunes in Frank's show, and doing some Frank
Yeah,
stuff. But the
yeah.
guy was brilliant. I mean, in his own way, because he was totally unschooled, and he just basically we would do when we do his tunes. Okay, this part goes like this part goes like that, you know.
Hmm.
And as opposed to Frank wrote everything out, you know.
Yes, yes.
And yeah, I mean, I little bit that I got to know him, I really enjoyed him. The guy was very cool. Like I say, I heard that his own when he's doing his own band, putting things together, he could be intense, but
Yes.
he wouldn't have to carry he didn't have to carry the weight on that. So you know,
No doubt. No doubt.
so
Chester, your involvement in music and what you played and what you played on, it's to me it's mind blowing. It really is. It really is.
well, I look back and I'm pretty freaked out as well.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't take it I don't take it for granted. Um, I think I've reached a point in life I'm over me. It's
hmm
like,
hmm
I'm just grateful. Still trying to play better, still trying to work on it, you know.
It sounds like it. It sounds like you're right in the moment with the drumming on the new album that I heard, which I'm curious now. So you joined this band in Australia. Are you in El
I
Paso?
did that from my house.
Okay, so you're not, are there plans for you to
We,
actually
we toured, we
tour?
toured, we toured Europe. We toured
Okay.
Europe in September.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a small tour, just 6 dates. We were over there for
Hmm.
about 3 weeks. So, a quick update. So about this time a year ago, I couldn't walk. I ended up I had an infected disc, and at the same time that happened, no, but they thought I was having a leg issue. They thought was from the disc, but I didn't think it was. Finally, I got sent to see a sports medicine doctor, something called tendinosis.
Hmm.
And the lesson here is so tendinosis is a repetitive use injury where the muscles don't get to respond, or they don't get to heal properly, where they don't get to rest.
Hmm.
Now the other side is not like I was playing all day every day, but the other side of that, for a couple of years, I've done some kind of sports all my life, never at a team level or not professional, but I've always played tennis,
Hmm.
rollerblading. I've roller skated all my life. So
Okay.
even into 70, I was still rollerblading,
Wow.
regularly and
Okay.
stuff. Um, but for a couple of years, I got real lazy, got real sedentary, was not exercising, wasn't walking, wasn't running, and wasn't doing much of anything. But when I would play, it'd be pretty intense.
Mm.
And so the muscles weren't being constantly stretched and toned.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so from going nothing to like from 0 to 90 miles an hour all of a sudden,
Yes,
and
yes.
so I almost tore some tendons. I mean, fortunately we
Wow.
caught it before I shredded the tendons, but that would have been the next thing that could have happened. So I've had a bunch of therapy since then.
Hmm.
I'm still doing therapy actually, and yeah, I mean I'm able to play no problem now. The thing
Wow. Had no
was,
idea.
yeah, the European tour that we did, I was able to play. I was fine playing the show, but
Hmm.
by the end of the night, man, I'd be in pretty pretty severe pain. But I knew it was time to get back.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad it's not permanent damage, that
no,
you're going
no,
to be all
it's
right.
no God is good.
Yes, that is true. That is true. I'd like to share that I'm a spiritual person. I'm more general.
Mhm,
I went to monastery. I almost
mhm,
became a priest.
right.
So that's important to me. I don't espouse any particular, each one of us has our own path. So I respect each path. But what I'm trying to say is the essence of your spirituality comes through in your playing to me.
Mm,
There's an innate grounding that I
mhm.
feel when you play. You don't sound crazy.
Well, there's been those years too, but
Let's get real now.
I wish I could go back and take some notes back that didn't need to get played, but.
So, how did you hook up with Caleb?
Oh man, so we were on that same album with Alfonso. I'm not sure if it was that one because I've done a couple with him. So there
Hmm.
was one where Caleb was on the album.
Okay, wow, that
And
goes way
we just
back then.
clicked. We just clicked. It's like, hey man, I'm trying to get this band going. We're just jamming a lot. I want you to come on over and check it out, which he did, and liked what we were doing, and he became part of that band.
That's beautiful. That's
And
beautiful.
he's recovering from a heart attack right now. Actually, he just had surgery a couple of days ago. Whatever prayers you can offer up.
He has them.
His wife's been keeping us all updated.
Absolutely.
Intense. It was
Absolutely. I
really,
will.
really intense. Open heart, about a 9-hour surgery, something like that. and he's a little weak right now, but I'm sure he'll be fine. But so we just need to keep him lifted up. Beautiful,
Yes,
what a beautiful
absolutely.
human being, man. Caleb is my guy.
Yes, yes, I'll join in on that in that chorus. I certainly will. I've gotten the prompt that I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to wrap this up.
Okay.
Just Chester, I just want to just again thank you very much. It's so kind of you to come and spend time with basically just a fan. I mean, and I don't have a big, I have like a 32,000 subscriber base, but I ain't nobody. This, I think, really is a testimony to your character as a person, that you would spend time with us regular folks here, man. Because and I want to share with you, as I was telling folks like last week online, that I'm going to be talking to Chester, Baltimore loves you. My Baltimore
Oh
friends,
man.
man, Baltimore, Baltimore, you represent, my friend.
Oh man.
One more half serious question though. Did you have much experience dealing with racism in all these different bands?
Well, not so much.
Now you
Not
know you're light skinned, so that helps.
Well, it does help. You're right.
Yes,
I'm
it
not as
does.
big a threat as I am to some. But my early days of touring was all doing playing the South, playing like soul music in white clubs in the South.
Yes,
So we
yes,
only had we only had one blatant incident. Um, we were in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. We were out for a walk. We were looking for a pool room because we all love to play pool just to pass some.
yes, yes.
And we run into this guy, and he's just gushing about the gig last night. Man, I love your band. All that. And we notice he's in front of a pool room. And he was like, hey, man, can we come in and shoot some pool? And his face dropped. He says, oh, man, he was so embarrassed. He says, I can't invite you in. I'm so sorry.
Wow.
You understand.
Yeah.
And so we did what we always did. We found the railroad tracks.
Mhm.
When we're looking for a soul food place, we always, first of all, in the South, you find the tracks, and there
You're
it
right.
is. And we found a pool room with like the cloth half torn and the tables weren't level, the old rolls.
Yes, the real deal.
But other than that, I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
I've, I've tried to be non-threatening, not confrontive.
Hmm.
Not always gotten it right, but I've
Yeah.
tried to be that.
Yeah.
I was probably a little minor league militant at that time, late '60s and going into the '70s and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, well, yeah, I mean,
I know I was. I'm a former Black Panther member.
right. Well, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, or was
It
what
is. Yep.
exactly. So, and I was not unaware of what was going on in the rest of the world. I mean, I always tried to pay attention to what was going on. I mean, I came home from school every day and it's black and white TV and it's like fire hoses and dogs and I'm
Yeah.
watching stuff live. It's like,
Yeah.
so it was hard not to be a little angry,
No doubt.
but
Again,
music is a very healing thing. People
yes.
come together with music
Yes.
where they may not speak a word to each other otherwise. So,
Right. It's been one of the healers.
yes.
Um, so what's next for you as I wrap this up? What's next?
Oh man, I never know.
Okay.
I never have any idea. Life is
Okay.
an adventure to me. It really is.
Awesome.
Um,
Awesome.
I mean, I try to make plans, and it's like something happens. It's like so whatever's next, I'm up for it.
Well,
I've been very fortunate that way. I mean, I'm starting to book gigs, starting to book gigs under my name again, which I hadn't done for a while. Like I said, just had to
nice.
get my
Nice.
strength back up and stuff. Haven't
Excellent.
toured for a while because of all of that. I taught for 20 years at Belmont University here in Nashville.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure when and if I'll get back into teaching. I'm working on my own plan right now. I'm having to take
Right.
my exercises that I taught, which I always
Yes.
taught what I practice.
Yes. Take care of yourself.
So I'm having to like get me back in shape before I can even think about anything else.
No doubt. Well,
Um,
you definitely take care of yourself. Chester, I want to thank you so very much. Maybe drop a line to your manager to see. I'd like to get a vinyl copy. I'd like to work on getting a
oh,
vinyl
we
copy.
can do that. We can
Okay,
absolutely do that. Yeah, it just came out the vinyl.
man, because you can see I love vinyl.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's the was it the 80-gram vinyl, the thick one,
180 gram. Yeah,
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 it turned out okay. I mean, I checked the test pressings. I just got the vinyl, so I'm gonna go probably throw it on the turntable. I went on upgraded my cartridge big time, and so like
right.
I'm really loving what I'm hearing now. It's like,
It's always a good feeling.
oh
Chester,
yeah.
thank you again so much. I don't idolize you. I respect you and just want you to understand that you are one of the greatest drummers living on this planet.
Wow, well, I appreciate it.
I mean
Yeah,
that sincerely.
well,
And I'm
looks like
speaking for a lot
looks.
of other people besides me, trying to let
Oh
you know
man.
that, okay?
Well, let's. Man, I've really enjoyed this. We got 4 minutes. Let's turn off the recorder and talk for a minute.
Okay. All right. All right. Let me stop the recording. Just a second. How do I do?
Oh, just hit the record button. I think you just. I
It
think I
says,
think it just toggles on and off.
okay,
Oh,
1 second. Sorry about
oh,
that. Okay.
oh,
Yeah,
it's
there it
still
is.
there.